Good morning, everybody. I'm going to take a lot of NSQ questions in this session. Moreover, these questions are based on paragraph reading. Okay, so comprehension based questions I've taken more in this session. A lot of these cognitive based questions are asked in many competitive, almost all competitive exams. So yeah, let's start with. Okay. So this is more GK based question, the first one. What it says is you have to select all the statements about the Silk Route that are true. All right. Read the statements very carefully and try answering it. We'll solve it together. All right. So the first option says the Silk Route derives its name from the lucrative trade in Indian silks carried out along its length beginning from the 3rd century BC. Some scholars, second statement, some scholars prefer the term silk routes because the road included an extensive network of routes, even though few were more than rough caravan tracks. Soon after the third statement, soon after Roman conquest of Egypt in 30 BCE, communications and trade between China, Southeast Asia, India, and Middle East, Africa, and Europe blossomed on an unprecedented scale because of the Silk Route. The fourth statement, the Buddhist movement was perhaps the first large-scale missionary movement in the history of world religions, and its transmission to the Mediterranean began via the Silk Route in the 1st century CE. Here, one or more option is correct. Tanvi, wrong answer. Mahi, partially correct answer. Kavya, wrong answer. Ashwi, Kavya, wrong answer. Oh, Meera, here, Anshi, Kavya, Tisha, Kushi, wrong answer. Kushi, okay. Both of your answers are wrong. Tisha, Kavya, wrong answer. Anshi, wrong answer. All right. In this case, the correct answer is B and C. Some scholars prefer the term Silk Route because the road included an extensive network of routes. Soon after the Roman conquest of Egypt in the 30 BCE, communication and trade began in these networks at an unprecedented scale. Yeah. Most of you have given the answer B. Many of you missed on the C answer. I don't know why. Uh, why can't it be D? The Buddhist movement was perhaps the first large-scale missionary movement in the history of the world religions, and a transmission to the Mediterranean began via the Silk Route in the first century CE. Um, for the D part, Kavya, I have been looking at it. It actually began in the first BCE, between the first and the third century BC, and they were using the Silk Route during that time. But I'm not sure why it is given wrong. But I have to dig deep onto that, why D is given incorrect. But partially this answer is correct in a way. So I'll just check on the data and I'll get back why is this answer not given. All right. Okay. Move to the next one. There's a paragraph provided to you. You have to guess based on this information. You have to guess or infer which of the following statements is or are true in the paragraph. From the paragraph. Please read the paragraph carefully. And meantime, I'll start underlying few things. Okay, so you please read on your own and try answering this. Tanvi, wrong answer. Here, correct answer. Okay. So I have made few marks here, which, sorry, I should have written E, E, yeah. So I've made few marks here, what I'm trying to tell you is these are the places where you get clues for all the options which are provided here. So the first part gives you the answer for the option A, whether or not A is correct. The second part, which is marked as B here, it gives you the part for answering whether option B is correct or not. The third mark, which has written C and D together, I mean, they are roughly there here. The first part is C and the next part talks about the D part. It gives you whether or not C or D options are correct. Fairly simple from this. Tanvi, wrong answer. Vishwa, correct answer. Shamoli, Meera, wrong answer. Anvi, correct. No, Anvi, wrong answer. Kavya, wrong answer. So in this case, the correct options are A is correct and D is correct. So the thesis statement of the above paragraph is that there are no precise rules about punctuation. It starts with that thesis statement itself, that there are no precise rules about punctuation. It does not deny it, but it's a thesis statement. It's an assumption from where it starts. It may prove, it may not prove that, all right? The next one, author asserts that Greeks were confused about their punctuation. They use semicolons in place of question mark. Yes, the Greeks did use semicolon in place of question marks, but it is not mentioned anywhere that the Greeks were confused about their punctuation. So that statement reads here, I've underlined the B part. He points out, for example, I'm reading from here. He points out, for example, we possess only 4 stops: the colon, the semicolon, and the colon and the period. And the explanation point are not strictly speaking stops. They are indicators of tone. Oddly enough, he's considering it odd that the Greeks employed the semicolon for their question mark. He finds it odd. He doesn't find it confusing. Odd and confusing, they both are different, by the way. So oddly enough, the Greeks employed the semicolon for their question mark. It produces a strange sensation to read a Greek state sentence, which is a straightforward question. Why weepest thou? Instead of why weepest thou? And of course, okay, till that point, we are sure that the Greeks were not confused about that part. The author finds it strange. It's not the Greeks were confused about it. He's not asserting on that part. So B is wrong. The C. The recursive nesting of subordinate clauses within the parenthesis in the above paragraph simplifies the sentence structure and clarifies writing. Parenthesis means brackets, these round brackets. The recursive nesting. Recursive nesting means, so there is a parenthesis, a statement is written, then there's another open parenthesis, and then there's a closed parenthesis, and then there's another closed parenthesis. So what he says is he finds this, so this kind of a structure simplifies sentence structure and clarifies writing. He says, he makes this bold statement here, that it simplifies the structure and it clarifies the writing. And of course, there are parentheses. I'm reading it from here, this point. And of course, there are parentheses, which are surely a kind of punctuation, making this whole matter much more complicated. It's written here very clearly, much more complicated, by having to count up the left-handed parentheses in order to be sure of the closing of the right-handed. So he finds this utterly confusing because you have to count the left, which is the open parenthesis, and where it closes. So it does not simplify it. In fact, makes it more confusing and complicated. So C is wrong. The last part. The author argues that parentheses may offer the possibility of greater rigor and accuracy for our meaning, but they do so at the cost of critical quality of language, which is wonderful, which is its wonderful ambiguity. The last part here somewhere. But if parentheses were left out with, I'm reading from here, this part. I hope you can read it. But if parentheses were left out with nothing to work with, but stops but the stops. We would have considerably more flexibility in deploying of the layers of the meaning than if we try to separate all the clauses by physical barriers. So he is talking about greater rigor and accuracy for deploying our meanings in this part, the flexibility in deploying layers of meanings. And in the latter case, while we might have more precision and exactitude for our meaning, we would lose the essence of language, which is its wonderful ambiguity. This last part is very accurate to what is given in the option D. That's why D is correct. So in this case, A and D both are correct. B and C are wrong statements. Any doubts, any questions in this? Please note, in this case, you cannot in the exam, in comprehension based question, in any exam, in comprehension based question, you don't have the luxury to read the whole thing first and go from one thing to other thing to other. In some cases, yes, there might be an issue with the way the options are given in terms of structure. In most of the comprehension, not in many, but in most of the comprehension questions, the options which are given A, B, C, D are fairly in sequence of how the paragraph progresses further. So all you have to do is read statement by statement by statement and then go from one, like try reading the paragraph wherever you find. So for example, when I'm talking about the first part, no precise rules about punctuation, I just was finding where there are rules about punctuation written. And it was in the first part itself. And I just went there and read that statement. That's it. So it's not in most of the comprehension cases, this won't be interconnected. Like, you won't have like a meaning thing, like a branched meaning thing. Okay, it starts establishing a point and then in the middle or at the end it gets revealed. It might not be the case. In some cases it is, but in most of the cases it will be very simple and straightforward. So all you have to go do is, in most of the cases in comprehension, is start from option by option. Don't read the whole paragraph first. Start with the first option. Locate where that line is given, where those words are given. Like, for example, parenthesis ka diya hai C or D mein. I was just looking for where parenthesis is coming, where that word parenthesis is coming. And I just read the initial part and then came across. And then I found out it's correct or it's not correct. And in your notes, I saw few of you giving the exam, which Pratik had given. Sadly enough, most of you are not doing it systematically. You are doing some kind of a very wishy-washy or rough work in your notes, which is provided. Please don't do it. Do a very systematic approach, like how you, in your 10th mathematics or any other exam paper where you sequentially solve things, you have to solve that sequentially in your notepad. Otherwise, you won't, even if you have time to go back and cross-check your answers, you won't be able to do that method also. So even if it is given that, even if there are questions about painters provided, even if you know that name of the painters whose paintings are given, just write it. It is okay. But don't do a very wishy-washy thing where you are just doing it for the heck of it, rough work. Do it very systematically, like you are writing an exam paper. Your notepad, even if it is going to stay with you, has to be like a proper written process thing. And this is literally, so when I'm in comprehension based question, when I'm solving this, I'm not going to just look at my screen and keep on doing some wishy-washy thing in my statement, whether it's correct or not. In this case, I will literally locate the whole paragraph and I will say the first 2 lines talks about option A. The second 3 lines talks about option B. I will locate it like that. So at the end, when I come back here, I have the possibility to cross-check it. Please don't do a wishy-washy method of, randomly scribbling anywhere. In the exam, you have to be systematic. If you don't do that, you will lose a lot of marks. There will be a lot of issues and mistakes done by you. And I'm going to be very strict here because I've seen the way you solve it. It's not appropriate at all to solve it like that. I'm sorry to say that. Okay, I'm sorry for this. We'll move to the next one. Which paper, Kavya, you want? Okay, just message me. I'll just move to this question now, okay? This is again that same thing. Here you're given a paragraph. You're supposed to uh, identify which of the statement is or are true, all right? Uh, Try possibly go from option by option. If you're not able to follow through it, then read the paragraph and do it. But my suggestion is start with the options first in comprehension based questions. It's much easier. I'm going to follow that same method. I'm just going to try locating and underlying things. You do your own method on your own. Okay. Yeah, so Kavya, that paper which I'm talking about, Pratik is giving you here when you come to the institute. So I think it's better that you have a talk with him, how you can get it. Yeah. Vishwa, correct answer. Ashvi, correct answer. Meera, wrong answer. He, wrong answer. Diya, Tanvi, correct answer. Okay. Like I've done earlier, I've marked the places where you find this nuances of the options A, B, C, D written. Yeah, so Akavya, wrong answer, Kashvi and Anvi, correct answer. So in this case, the first option, the arc of this passage moves from biological to the social to the metaphysical, connecting the concerns of cloning with the issues of identity and selfhood, which is correct because the last option about identity and selfhood is actually mentioned in the last line here. The option D and A, that's why they are linked together, and they both are correct because what it talks about identity and selfhood is if cloning were permitted, the author is tormented by the prospect of loss of selflessness or uniqueness, which, according to him, is the very core of our sense of self. So he says here in this part, after all, we are accustomed ourselves through hundreds of millennia to the continual exhilaration of uniqueness. Each of us is totally different in fundamental sense from all the other 7 billion. Selflessness is a essential fact of life. The thought of human non-selflessness, precise sameness, is terrifying when you think about it. So he is actually tormented by that fact and by the fact of loss of selflessness. So A and D both are true because in A, it's written that he has concern of clothing and identity and selfhood. And of course, the trajectory of this whole passage or the arc of this passage, arc or trajectory of the passage of how it moves from first it talks about biological in the first paragraph, then it raises concerns in the middle paragraph, but we are not raising, but it's similar in alignment with the first. And then in this third paragraph, it talks about the first half of the third paragraph, it talks about the social issue, a social part, and then the last part it talks about the metaphysical, which is about identity, selfness, all right, and uniqueness, which is a very metaphysical attribute to it. So the arc is correct that way. With the option B, the author, then the option B. So A and D both are correct here. Then I'll check with B. The author takes the view that cloning broadens the understanding of humanness by making room for evolving modification in human beings and society. Here, the cloning of human being is one of the most list of the things to worry about in the science. So he's saying that one has to worry about it, which is an issue. He does not say that it broadens the purview of understanding humanness at all. So B is wrong. He's concerned about it rather. C. The author believes that if we are not socially objectionable, the self-determined cloning by the rich and the powerful would not, it's written, would not be a misuse of technology. So here also he's raising a question. He's not asserting anything on that lines. How to handle the misuse of how to handle the risk of misuse technology such as self-determined cloning by the rich and the powerful, but socially objectionable, or the cloning by the government of dumb docile masses for the world's work. What will be the effect of the uncloned rest of us of human sameness? After all, we are accustomed ourselves through hundreds of millennia to the continual exhilaration of uniqueness. He is not saying anything. He is not asserting anything. He is just raising a question. It's more of a concern as to how do you handle the misuse of technology. The author, what C says, the author believes that if we are not socially objectionable, the self-determined cloning by the rich and powerful would not be a misuse of technology. He's not asserting anything in that line. So we'll say C is wrong, but he's raising a concern around the uniqueness and the self-identity, the selfhood, the identity of individuals. Cloning, this is all about cloning and its impact on uniqueness of humans. There is no concern related to, he's raising questions about how do you control it, but there are no concerns about it being used around it. He does raise some questions. So yeah, A and D both are correct here. Any doubts, any questions? Okay. The next one, next paragraph, the same paragraph again. Sorry, it's a paragraph and some written assertions. You have to guess which assertions are. Assertion is you are asserting things. Okay, you are saying it outright very clearly or correct based on this. Again, I am following the same method here. What I will do is I'll write, I'll underline things and then you solve it on your own also parallelly. Kashvi, Anvi, wrong answer. Please note in this kind of question, you will have to do this short, small exercise, what I'm doing right now. Note down all the creatures which are written here and based on these statements which are provided, write which are injured, which are not injured, who is aggressive, who is retiring, who is fretful, who is frisky, so on. Whatever you can derive from the statement. You will have to do this small exercise, okay? It's difficult to do to go on a direct thing right from this thing, okay? Tanvi, correct answer. All right. So Kavya, correct answer. Rishabh, Shimoli, wrong answer. Yeah, all right. So in this case, you're given multiple, you have to derive things on your own. So you're given 6 elephants. Sorry, you're given 6 animals. There's an elephant, there's rhino, there's wild badger. Sorry, there's elephant, there's rhino, there's a wild buffalo, there's a clouded leopard, there's a swamp deer, and there's a hawk badger. They were found in 4 different kinds of perilous situation: a flooded ditch, attack by poachers that killed the mother. So one was attached by poachers, mother's killed. A river in a spate, and in dangerous proximity to human habitat. After weeks in rescue center, each creature demonstrated one characteristic trait that stood out from all of the above: others: mischievous, aggressive, shy, retiring, fretful, and frisky. So, 3 creatures were actively involved, is what is given. Any of the 3 creatures were actively injured. The wild buffalo was found in a flooded ditch is aggressive. The wild buffalo is aggressive and it's found in the ditch, the flooded ditch. The creatures found in the river spate are mischievous and the fretful ones. The mischievous one and the fretful ones are the ones which are found in the river in a spate. So the later on, it is also mentioned that the swamp deer is fretful and is actively injured, and which means it is also found in the river. I'm just writing here. And elephant is mischievous and is severely stressed. It's not injured, but is severely stressed. And so which means the elephant is also found in the river spate. It's stressed, it's not injured, and it's I'm just writing it here, river spate. and as a victim of attack by was sorry while sorry another statement. One of the two found in the flooded ditch, the animals who are found in the flooded ditch is actively injured, while two of the uninjured but severely stressed were found in the river spate and as a victim by the poachers respectively. So the two which were uninjured but are severely stressed were found in the river spate and a victim of poachers respectively. So the elephant who was mischievous, who is stressed but is not injured, it's written uninjured, is found. So the last statement, option D, says the elephant is uninjured, which is correct. Because this statement, ये वाला जो statement है, it proves that one. It's written. One of the two found in the flood ditch is actively injured. One of the two in the ditch is actively injured, while two of the uninjured but severely stressed were found in river spate and as a victim of attack by poachers respectively. They were uninjured. Okay. The next part. The shy creature was rescued from close to the human habitat. Now, if I correlate this part and no, not the sorry. If I correlate, the shy creature was rescued and was closer to the human habitat. So I have written here honey badger is the one which is shy and is rescued from the human habitat, because after correlating everything, what I find was elephant is mischievous and is stressed. Rhino was found in the ditch. The wild buffalo was aggressive. The clouded leopard was attacked was a victim of the attack by the poachers, and of course it's uninjured. It's not injured. The swamp deer was the fretful one. We are left with the shy part to be the honey badger after we assign everything here, what is given here. The swamp deer is fretful and is actively injured. The rhinoceros was found in a flooded ditch, and a clouded leopard was a victim of attack by poachers. The elephant is mischievous one and severely stressed. So, yeah. So in this case, the clouded leopard the clouded leopard one was the one with was a victim of the poachers and who was also uninjured. Yeah, 1 second. And after, yeah, so after you assign these things, what you find is the hawk badger or the honey badger was the one which is shy, and you can find them to be closer in closer proximity to the human habitat. So the creature who has a retiring temperament is uninjured. Then the frisky creature is a cloud badger. Sorry, the clouded leopard. If the creature who has retiring temperament is uninjured, then the frisky creature is a cloud badger. And if the creature is aggressive by temperament, is actively injured, and then so is the one who is by nature retiring. These two statements are the one which we are not able to derive it, because we cannot clearly say that if the frisky creature is injured or not injured, because we can derive that there are two animals which are injured, definitely. One who is in the flooded ditch. It can be the wild buffalo also. Because it's written one of the two found in the flooded ditch is actively injured, and the wild buffalo is found in the flooded ditch, but we don't know whether or not the injured one is a wild buffalo or not. So wild buffalo is aggressive by nature, but the other one can be frisky also. The other one can also be this retiring guy also. with with a retiring temperament also. Uh, it is difficult to derive the A part in the first case. The next part, if the creature is aggressive by nature, the aggressive creature is the wild buffalo. If the creature is aggressive by temperament, is actively injured. Now, this guy who is actively injured, the wild buffalo is found in the flooded ditch, but it does not establish that it is injured or not. Then so is the one who is of the retiring nature. We don't have actually any information about the one in the retiring nature because no information is provided of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of the 8 statements, we don't have any information about the retiring part or even of the frisky part. Nothing is given much here. So A or C, I will actively skip in this case, and I will go for B and D because there is some establishment which is coming about of the hog badger to be shy and of course the elephant to be uninjured. In this case, A and C can be risky establishing it. So don't go for things which are not given. The derivation part is not coming out clearly because in this case, if I just go by the information provided, I'm able to establish aggressive, mischievous, shy, and yeah, aggressive, mischievous, and this fretful. I'm not sure about retiring and frisky because I'm not given any data. It can be anybody. So wherever in the option I'm given retiring and frisky, I will actively I will actively not go for that option because I have no data. I have no clue about it. I'm given the characteristic, but I have no clue who can be assigned. It can be flip composition also. Yeah. So in this case, actively, I will go for B and D. Any doubts? Any questions? Okay. This question I have, very consciously kept in. All I want you to do is just do a nice search on all these 6 works. Circle of Reason, Prison and Chocolate Cake, Roots and Shadow, Shadow Lines, Nectar and a Sieve, and That Alone Silence. Along with that, also do an active search of all these authors. What are the prominent works? Please either take a screenshot of it if you can, or write it down in your notes, either thing. But please do an active search on all these works and all these authors which are listed here. There are 4 authors: Nayantara Sehgal, Amitav Ghosh, Namita Gokhale, Sashi Deshpande. Most of you would know about them. I'm assuming it. I'm not sure. But please do a thorough research on the works of these authors and also read about which of who are the authors of these prominent works. Yeah, please let me know once you've taken a screenshot or I've noted it down. I'll just give you the answer here. The answer is A, B, and D in this case. Nayantara, Nayantara Sehgal, Amitav Ghosh, and Shashi Deshpande. They are the authors of these works. But please read about them. That's all I'm asking. Okay, I'm going to the next one. I hope everybody has noted or have taken a screenshot of this. Okay. Yeah. A recent survey, this is a statement.
Just scroll down the question so I can take a screenshot.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. So here's a statement which is provided about concert goers, small halls and older halls, and which are better. A recent survey among concert goers found that smaller, older halls sound better for symphony orchestras as compared to a bigger modern ones. With what are the possible reasons for this? Which are the possible reasons that can come out because based on this kind of a statement which is coming out of the survey? That's what you have to find. It's very simple actually. Try reading it. Kavya, partially correct answer. Tanvi, partially correct answer. Tisha, partially correct answer. Kavya, partially correct answer. Rishabh, partially correct answer. Tanvi, Ashvi, Shimoli, partially correct answer. Pratvi, partially correct answer. Mahi, partially correct answer. In this case, all the options are correct. A, B, C, D. All options are correct in this case. Smaller halls are better able to reflect bass notes from sidewalls and ceilings, which are important factor in the quality of symphony sound, which is what exactly is provided above. Okay. Old halls are a part of history and heritage, so people find them, so people think they sound better. It's in because they're a part of history, they're old, they're part of heritage, they feel because there's a strong sense of association with them. That's where people find them that okay, they have been working well so for so long, they have to be much better than what we find, what we see nowadays. That's a base assumption, Kavya. Old concert halls with good acoustics tend to get maintained and preserved, while ones with suboptimal acoustics gets renovated and replaced, which is correct. Older halls which are good at acoustic, they are very well maintained. They are well maintained and they're very well preserved. The atmosphere is more intimate in older concert halls because visually and acoustically, because the concert goer is more closer to the musician, which is the correct thing actually. Now, if you look at the modern day concert halls, the distance between the musician and the people who are visiting the concert is actually quite a lot. You cannot see the musician versus in the older one, you are very in a quite close proximity to the musician. So all the options A, B, C, and D are correct in this case. Any doubts, any questions? Okay. So here you're given a figure. You have to guess which of the options below are simple rotation of the figure above. Which of the option below are simple rotation of the figure above? In this case, this technique worked with me and it's much easier to locate. Just check for this much part. Just check for that much part. That's it. Just look at this part, the middle part, which I'm highlighting at all the places. Don't go for any other part, just concentrate on that middle hexagon, the smaller hexagon. You will find the answer. Prithvi, wrong answer. Tanvi, partially correct answer. Kavya, wrong answer. Ashvi, Ashvi, wrong answer. Anvi, wrong answer. Mahi, wrong answer. I mean, partially correct answer, Mahi. Yeah, it's very simple. Just look at that center part. I mean, how can you go wrong here? Trisha, partially correct answer. Tisha, partially correct answer. Kavya, wrong answer. Anshi, wrong answer. Ashvi, wrong answer. Sanchi, wrong answer. Meera, partially correct answer. Shimoli, wrong answer. Diya, partially correct answer. Rishabh, wrong answer. If your if whatever you're answering, if one answer is correct, I will give it a wrong answer. Okay, I'll speak it that it is wrong. Do you see what I've highlighted here? This, and look at also another part. With reference to that, look at the other placement of arrows, just with reference to that. In this case, how I started, I'll tell you. I started looking at the center part, and then I started looking at, I didn't compare the question figure at all in the first place. What I started is I started comparing the ABCD options below. When I looked at the center part, everything seems intact. There is no issue much. But then when I started comparing the options, like for example, the clearest clue here would be these two arrows which are pointing up. I mean, they're easier to locate everywhere. So these two arrows which are looking up, they are coming here, they are coming here. B and C, उसमें सिर्फ there's just a change in one rotation, okay? There, so इसको B को if I rotate it like this, just by 30 degree or 60 degree, I will get C. 60 degree, sorry, I will get C. And then again, I start locating at these two arrows here, here, and then click or what you find is these two are pointing in one direction. They're pointing towards a point middle part. यहाँ पे एक ऐसे हो रहा है, एक ऐसे बाहर की तरफ जा रहा है. Versus here and here, sorry. Here and here, they both are pointing at the middle part. After I do that, all I have to do is just locate that part here. That's it. और बाकी का दो का opposite direction में map हो रहा है, which is also happening here and here, which is also happening here and here, which is also happening here and here. So A, B, and D are correct. C is wrong. In these kind of questions, all you have to do is just compare the options together. Once you compare the options together, you'll find the differences between the options. Just like we have done the MCQ also, just follow that same method here. Once you find the differences, like I just told you, कि ये center वाला part के हिसाब से locate other clues. Observe the center part very clearly. Once you do that, all you have to do is just cross-check the differences and cross-check it with the question figure. In this case, I just did that and I found that C is the only one with an error. A, B, D, and correct are correct. Yeah, of course, after that, you do go out and cross-check just for the heck of it, but do it later. Once you get the options at the end, when you're done with the whole paper, just come back and cross-check the whole figure very carefully. Any doubts, any questions? All right. We'll end today's session with this. Thank you so much.